Hi, welcome back to RN Effect. We're so happy that you guys are back to join us.
Yes.
I'm JG.
And I'm JD.
And today, just tell us what we're talking about.
Yes, ma'am. Today we are talking about burnout and self-care.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Another hot topic, right? Nursing is a profession that takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of personal energy. We get so involved in our patients, involved in taking care of people, and sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
So today we're going to tell you guys about burnout and how to take care of yourselves.
Yeah. What's really important, I think, as we go into talking about this is, like you were saying, JG, it's like we're nurses. We give, and keep giving, right? And it's not just at work as nurses, right? I mean, it's like the natural order of things, even in our personal lives, too. I mean, we give, right? I mean, that's what we do. We went into this profession because we're good. We've all experienced some burnout to some degree at some level, but especially today, given obviously current events with this pandemic.
I think that we are in a profession in nursing where we take care of people, we give ourselves, and most of us just, if we give at work, we give at home too. So we get burned out easily.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about how we get through our burnout, share some of our experiences with burnout, and just kind of tell you some ways to decompress and how not to get burned out, right?
Well, so I think the first place to start our conversation at is, what is burnout, right? Burnout is basically where we have provided and done and given for others, but we're not feeding back to ourselves. And so when we give, your mindset is in that always, what do I have to do for others? What problems do I need to solve? Your mind is constantly moving in a direction where it's trying to help others, right? But so what happens in that process is that we fail to recharge. And why do we need to recharge? We need to recharge because when we're giving and our mindset is constantly in that go motion where we're constantly putting out for other people, we're not reclaiming energy for ourselves. And how do we reclaim energy? Well, it's a variety of things. It's whatever activities, in addition to eating and sleeping, whatever activities kind of re-inspire us, reignite that joy and passion, which joy and passion is a prerequisite to giving, I would say, right? Yeah. Because if I'm going to go out and take care of my patients, my family members, and my pets, my neighbors, whatever, there has to be a motivation in there, right?
Right.
Motivation is not fueled without joy and passion.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So that's the burnout effect, I think. I think when we're not refeeding ourselves to feel joy and passion, when we're not feeling that, it becomes very challenging to give. And then we're mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally become exhausted.
I agree. So, before we get into talk about ways that can help us get our energy back and refuel ourselves and recharge our batteries, first off, how do I recognize that I'm burned out? What things, or how would I know that I'm burned out? I think sometimes we don't know that we're burned out. We're just going and going and going, and we're on autopilot, and we don't realize that we're burned out until we can't move anymore. We're so exhausted where we make ourselves sick, or we just don't want to be bothered, right? So what are some things that we might say, oh yeah, I'm burned out? If you're depressed, right? If it affects your ability to be able to concentrate, if you're getting to the point where you're short-tempered, those are all signs that you're burned out. Every little thing irritates you.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person. That's an indicator that you need to recharge. detach from everybody, everything, and focus on making yourself better.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are some ways that you like to? What do you consider some self-care things? What do you like to do?
I mean, you know, it's self-care activities. I mean, it's kind of like what we mentioned earlier, is any activity that will feed back into your joy, happiness, and passion, right? It's feeding the essence of who you are, and we're all individuals, right? So certain activities for me will get me going, will remotivate me, whereas those same activities wouldn't necessarily apply to JG or to yourselves out there listening. So for me, self-care includes things like getting my nails done, right? You know, maybe some shopping, right? I love baking, right?
Nice.
Those things make me happy. They make me happy, and they're in a very supportive, healthy way. It's a selfish thing for me to do, and selfish is not a bad thing, especially when it comes to us nurses preserving ourselves.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you. Being selfish, I think as nurses, like, we are naturally givers. We naturally want to take care of everybody. We assume everybody's emotions. We take on everybody's problems. And as a result of that, we kind of get the burnt end of the stick of it. Like, we get the grunt end of it. And so being selfish sometimes is the way that we have to kind of self-preserve, right? So that means maybe not answering somebody's phone call. You don't have to, like, answer that text. You don't have to pick up that extra shift at work. Like, we understand that, like, we're in a staffing crisis and everybody wants to, like, work overtime, but sometimes we need that time to ourselves and be selfish. So to me, my selfish time is light my candles and sitting on the couch with my favorite blanket and, like, watching the Netflix series. Like, I recently binge watched Bridgerton, and like, that was my self-care thing, right? So I mean, be selfish, decompress, detach from everybody. Let your phone go dead. Like, don't get on social media. Like, just do things to detach, so that you don't burn out.
I can tell you, for me, I recently had an experience with burnout, and it was pretty significant. Symptoms. Basically, I found myself struggling to even just make a basic decision because I was just so exhausted, so mentally and emotionally exhausted, to the point where I couldn't even make a basic, simple decision. I didn't care whether left was left and right was right. You know, that was a big sign to me that, you know, something was wrong. And so I basically started I had to pause. I had to take a pause. I needed to detach from everything. I took a few days off from work, and just basically gave myself permission to be selfish and lazy.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay, because I couldn't have kept going. You know, it's kind of like the example of, like, the plane going down, you know, and you're on board with your child, right? And the oxygen masks come down, and you're basically, your instinct is to put that oxygen mask and rescue the child, right? But in the meantime, while you're busy rescuing the child, you're not getting the oxygen. And so you're very quickly depleting, right, your energy source. And so what's going to happen if you basically fade out, can't give anymore? What's going to happen to that child? You become useless to the child, right? So the direction is, when those oxygen masks come down, you need to worry about you first. Put your mask on, make sure you have an energy source, right? And then you can help others, right? And so, again, I just think that as nurses, we're instinctively built to just do, give, right?
That is such a great analogy with the oxygen mask. I don't think I could have said that any better. That's literally like the best analogy that I could have like ever come up with. That's why she's so smart. But, like, with my experiences with burnout, because I've experienced burnout before, and, like, what I found out, how I realized I was having burnout, is, like, I was snapping at everybody. Like, my husband, when I would come home from work, I would say, don't talk to me. Like, I just need to be by myself. Like, I didn't want to talk to him.
Because you couldn't give anymore.
Yeah, because I could not give anymore. I had given for 12 hours.
Yeah.
And when I got home, I was done giving. So, in order to kind of help myself in that, and this is something super small, guys. When I would get home, I would sit in my car and decompress and like gather my thoughts so that when I got home, I wasn't snapping at him.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't giving him that misplaced anger that I was having because I was so tired and exhausted. So that's not like, it's not super big, but it made a big difference because he didn't then understand what it was like being at the bedside and taking care and giving. Now he understands because, like, I think the pandemic has exposed like what the realities of nursing is. So now, like, everybody knows what nurses are doing these days. So, like, taking those few minutes, getting your thoughts together, gathering yourself, like, that's a simple self-care way to help us with burnout.
So other things I think you can do, okay, so let's take it from our day, like from the time we get up. Okay, let's walk through our day, a shift day, right? To the time we get home. Like, what are some things we can do that would fall under a self-care kind of mentality, right?
Right.
So you get up in the morning and you're getting ready for work. Some self-care opportunities there are, you know, you could get up 30 minutes earlier than normal, right? Than you need to, so that you can give yourself some time to do maybe some meditation,
right?
Maybe do some yoga, maybe do some dancing, right?
Oh gosh,
I mean, I've used that. Dancing makes me happy, right?
Yeah.
Crank up the music, your choice of music, and dance it out, right? Get yourself going.
Yeah, get a couple Starbucks.
Get your Starbucks, right? If you can, get your Starbucks, right? And then head out. Then you go to work. What are some self-care things we could do while we're at work?
What I do when I'm working is like, and when I get some downtime, I take a few minutes and just like look at things that I like online. Like, I like to look at Pinterest. I don't know if you guys like Pinterest, but like, I give myself just a few minutes and like not to think about anything work related, but like sit at home and think about ways that I want to organize my home, because like I'm trying to organize, right? So I look for things to help me like organize, and like it really makes a difference because I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about my next task that I have to do. I'm simply scrolling on Pinterest.
I think some things, I prioritize hydrating. I prioritize that. I do. It's important. Gotta drink that water. That water is an energy source, right? We can sit here and debate that all day long. It's an energy source, y'all. Drinking water is important. So prioritize that. That's going to keep you charged and able to keep moving forward, thinking clearly, able to make decisions without the brain fog or being exhausted, right? Something else that I do is I'll take a minute I'll ask my buddy, whoever's working nearby me, to watch my patients for a quick minute, or the charge nurse. Let me run into like the supply room, and I'll just go in there and just chill for a minute or two, right? So the silence in the room feels good. And so I'll do that. I've had colleagues who love fitness, and fitness is their joy. And so what they do is like they'll, when they every time they have to go to the med room and they go to the med dispensing machine to get their pills for their patients, they go in there and before they pop into the med machine, they'll do like 10 lunges, or they'll do like 10 back lunges, or they'll do like 5 burpees if there's space, you know, and then they'll go into the med machine, and they make themselves do that every single time they go into the med room to do it. So those are some opportunities. I mean, you got to find what makes you happy and what's for. Oh, and I have one more idea. Here's another one that many of you might like. Another way that I used to self-care when I was at the bedside was hot chocolate. Made me happy.
Oh my gosh.
Hot chocolate made me happy. And so it's like when that 2-3 o'clock would roll around, instead of having a cup of coffee, what I would do is I'd make myself a cup of hot chocolate. I'd bring marshmallows in my lunchbox with me every day.
Yeah.
And then I would put just a little bit of coffee in my cup, but then the rest of it was always hot chocolate, and I'd put the marshmallows. That always made me happy, and it got me through like the second half of my day.
You know, that's so funny because we used to do that on my unit. We used to call it tea time.
Yeah.
At like 3 o'clock in the morning because I work night shift. So 3 o'clock in the morning, we would have tea time and like have tea or coffee.
Yeah.
We had this Keurig that a family had bought for us on the unit.
Nice.
And it was just super nice.
Nice,
right?
nice.
So,
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So it's these little things. And actually, I had ended up sharing that little like hot chocolate thing with a couple of my colleagues, then became hooked on that. And because we really felt the chocolate really helped us like liven up.
Right? Who doesn't like hot chocolate?
I
like,
know.
Everybody likes hot chocolate. So, yeah. So, also, guys, at work, buddy up with your friends. You know, give each other breaks. You know, don't be afraid to delegate to people. When you're overwhelmed, when you're overworked, when you've got a million things that you're doing on your task list, don't be afraid to delegate to, you know, your PCT or your CNA, or maybe it's that charge nurse that's coming and say, hey, do you need some help? Don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
You know, get that help that you need, right?
Yep.
Don't be afraid about that.
Don't be afraid about that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I say as you walk away from this video, think about what makes you happy, big or small. If you can plan big things that make you happy, go for it. Don't stop yourself. Just do it. You know, push through and make it happen. But find the small things too that you can do, like light a scented candle that smells like the beach. I have one of those. That's my favorite. I play spa music in the background, like as my white noise in one of my rooms, and so as I walk through that room, I hear the music, and in my mind, it feels like I'm walking through a spa, and it's just a room in my house. Yeah. So find something that will help you just feel a sense of joy and rejuvenation.
Right.
Sleep, eat, meditate, whatever it is for you. I think you need to go ahead and find it.
Yeah, I agree.
So with that said, everybody, I think that brings us to the end. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned for more upcoming episodes where JG and I love to share current events in nursing with you and give you some tips on self-caring. You know, we have lots of great things coming up in 2021 with RN Effect, and I love her shimmy.
I'm excited.
And the self-care RN. So until then, I'm JD.
And I'm JG.
And this is
RN Effect.